Well, I think it's fair to say that we all come to these conferences, all these ION conferences, because I think we're navigation geeks. Don't you think so? You come here because you're so passionate about navigation. But I also have to admit, on the way from Hyatt coming here, I was lost. And but anyway, now you come here, you go to all these sessions, and you hear all these technologies about navigation. But you also notice there are few sessions, they talk about atmospheric effects. They talk about things that bothers GNS receivers, that will make your observation have errors or make it not working very well. So in this conference, we tend to focus on things like mitigation, because these are nuisance for us. These are bad guys. But did you realize there's another community? It's hard to imagine that. There's a community of people kind of like you guys. A few of them are sitting here, like Attila, and they're crazy about the atmosphere. That's their livelihood, okay? They really, I mean, that's all they care about. And they're not talking about mitigation anymore. They're talking about how to utilize satellite navigation technology to monitor the atmosphere, to provide forecasting, modeling technologies. And so I happen to be somebody who kind of lead a double life. I come to this meeting pretending I'm a navigation geek, even though I got lost just walking one block. But I go to another meeting. There we turn GNS technology into a weapon, into a tool that we can study the atmosphere. But one of these navigation companies actually had created a product about 8 years ago, and I saw this announcement. Well, this receiver was built to really just monitor the atmosphere. That was really the main purpose. So I thought, well, you know what, it's not cheap, but I'll buy one, I'll try it out. And I tried it out, I really liked it. And very soon, I noticed a lot of people have been emailing me, say, Jade, which receiver do you buy? And that because we want to monitor the atmosphere too. So I think it's safe to say they've made a kill by now because they've sold a lot of receivers. And, but they built a really nice product because they understand the scientists, they're a different breed of people from engineers. And they don't ask too many questions about what's inside that box. They just simply use it. And we designed GNS receivers for navigation purposes. So all of these other effects, to us, they're nuisance. We've done everything we could to filter them out, to make them go away. And then all these scientists will buy them, and they will look at the leftovers, whatever job we didn't do well, and they were analyzing the heck out of them. But this company is building a system so that people are actually analyzing the real traits of what atmosphere have imprinted on GNS signals. So this company's done well because they were pretty smart. They've realized GNS is not just for navigation, it is also for sensing. So I'm really glad I got to know them. I bought a few of those receivers, but they bought a lot more by people from all over the world. And that company is Septentrio, and I'm really glad they're going to win the prize for product this year. So we're Septentrio representatives.
Thank you. It's a great honor and privilege to be here and to receive this wonderful award. It was a bit unexpected for us, and we greatly appreciate it. On behalf of my colleagues, Tom and Andrew, who couldn't come today, but we could come, and on behalf of the entire Septentrio team in Belgium, I would really like to thank Ellen for organizing this and all the sponsors, and Jade for the very kind word that you just said. From the beginning, about 18 years ago, Septentrio enjoyed close ties with the scientific community, and we continue indeed to cherish this connection. Our Polaris receivers, and especially our scintillation monitoring receivers, so the Polaris S, is the result of a close collaboration between us and scientists at universities and institutes all over the world. And I see a few of these people here. Thank you very much for your support. While the GNSS industry was and is still largely relying on the legacy L1 signal, these people have been early adopters of the new signals and the new constellations from the start. And for us, this has been a great motivation as a starting company to implement and support all these signals as early as possible. I know scientists, I must say, are a bit special folks. While most of us dream of getting rid of error sources and all these perturbations, they just dream of it. They just dream of perturbations, atmosphere, and all these error sources. and on small delays and variations caused by this ionosphere. They don't want us manufacturers to filter out these errors. On the contrary, they want to focus on them and to see them in their full glory. So that's a different focus we had to put on the receiver. But the problem is when you are looking at error sources, there are plenty. And you all know multipath clock jitters, hardware biases, interferences, all these things are very hard to distinguish from the real signal you want to analyze and study. So our challenges, together with all these people, was to minimize those noises and perturbations such that the physical underlying signal was as clear as possible. And I'm happy to say that this exercise was extremely useful for us. And the technology which we developed at that time is now at the heart of all of our receivers. Now, looking ahead, I would say certainly for the scientific people, but for all of us, I would say, while the avalanche of new signals and constellations that we see now is a clear opportunity, it's also a huge challenge for us. So in some regions of the world, like in Asia, you can see at this time more than 60 GNSS satellites, all transmitting 3, 5 signal types, so that's a huge amount of data. And the question is, of course, how to use all this information, or how to process that, how to absorb that. What's the optimal set of signals for a certain application, how to choose the best one. With the many options that receiver manufacturers have to select from when implementing a support of a signal, how to make sure that they all take the same decision, that they are interoperable or compatible between them. All these questions are still not answered and will definitely keep us busy for the years to come. So once again, thank you very much for this award, and thank you for listening.